Hi guys, it's Kate from the Nail Team. Today I'm going to be showing you a one-stroke design. I've already buffed the shine off my display tip and applied a coat of One Move paint. I am using the Crystal Nails One Move 2 brush. It's an angle brush, and I'm also using the Crystal Nails one-stroke paints. Once my background layer is dry, I will dip into my two colours. I'm using white and a very deep pink. I've blended it onto my hand and I'm going to go in and place 5 petals. I'm using a tapping motion, but obviously you guys use whatever you feel comfortable with. I tend to go between tapping and wiggling, if I'm honest. As you tap though, you must pull slightly, but you need to keep the inside of the angled brush sort of central to how your circle is in the middle. Once the first coat of my petals is dried, I am going back in with a second layer. This just gives it a lot more depth to the inside of the petals. I want to make this look as realistic as possible. So it does make the colours stand out quite a lot different. Once I'm happy, I'm going to let it dry, and I want to go in and do inside petals. With these inside petals, I'm using a white on the outside again, but a lighter coloured pink in the middle, so you can see the difference between the outside and the inside petals. I'm also going to not do the petals in the same position. I'm going to do them as if they're overlapping the edges of the other petals. Just cleaning my brush up, and then I go straight in using a tapping motion. And if you can see, I'm overlapping 2 petals with the one petal, and just bring it round and up at the sides, so it looks like the petals on more the flowers on more of an angle than anything. I'm just going to apply, just loading my brush back up and applying some second coat of paint onto these petals. Once I'm happy with the look of my main focus flower, which is my element 1, I'm going to go in and I want to add some details. So I'm going to do my element 2. I'm going to place some buds on, but I do want them eventually to join up to the main flower. So I'm doing twisting my brush around and just doing some little petals, which I'm going to close. So it's like doing a sad face and then a happy face to make it look like a circle, so they look like they are closed. I'm going to do this with all 3 of them. I want to add some leaves. I'm going to be using a green and a yellow for my leaves, and I want to have them going around the outside of my buds. I'm just working out where to place things. So I'm just tapping and twisting out. Don't want huge leaves. These are tiny little buds coming off the flowers. So for each of my buds, I've added a leaf either side. Now I'm going to add some leaves into the flower itself. I'm going to put one at the side here and then one above. I'm actually looking at this leaf now that I've just put on, and I'm not completely happy with the way it's looking against the flower. But because it's my first layer of paint, I still have a second go with my second layer to change the look of it really. So I've slotted in another leaf in between the 2 petals, so it looks like it's coming out from behind. And then I'm going to try and rectify this leaf and bring it out, make it look a lot wider, more like a proper leaf really. That's better. And then I'm going to do a corner one coming off the side, and just twist the brush and then pull it back out so the yellow's on the outside. It looks a lot better now. So once I'm happy that my petals of my flowers are all in place, the contrast in the colour is looking good, and my leaves are all there, I'm then going to add my details. I want to bring in my buds to my main focus flower. I want to add some swirls, some details. I'm using my white paint here. I've watered it down to a milky consistency, and I am just putting little veins inside the petals and generally just going around the petals and adding some highlight to it. So once we have got that top coat on, it will shine out. Just not, if it misses places, it doesn't matter. I'm using the fine hair on the end of the brush, just going around. Not all the petals, just some of them. Highlighting around in my buds to make it look like a closed bud. And then highlight through my leaves. Just wiggle that brush up. Dragging that bit down. I'm going to do this leaf here and just add some little veins into the leaves. Just makes them look more realistic. So now I'm going to add some wiggly lines and bring them from my buds. And I want them just to tuck in between that petal and that leaf. So it's got a bit more flow to the design, so it all looks like it's flowing back to the main focus of the petal. So I'm just going to add a few more little veins into them and into my leaves. I'm going to do a swirl now, and the secret to getting your swirl to look like a swirl is to do it really, really slowly. Use your brush pick your brush up, use that very fine hair and just move it ever so slightly. The quicker you go doing that swirl, the more chance you've got of that paintbrush bending, flicking and ruining your whole design. So it is practice, and you just need to do it really, really slowly. I'm just adding some floating buds and some lines coming off for a little bit more detail. This is the element 3 section, all your little lines and your swirls and your dots. So I'm adding a little bit of detail into these buds. And then I will go on and I'll enter the central bit of my flower. I want this to look quite 3D-ish, so I'm going to do it in 3 different colours. I'm going to use a dark brown paint, and I'm going to dot that in and up around the inside of my flower so it looks like it's almost popping out. Once I've got my dark brown on, while it's still wet, I want to work my yellow colour into it. So straight on over the dark brown, not covering it all completely, just adding some more dots and details into that to make it pop. And then once that's yellow's in place and it's still wet, I'm going to go in with some white. Each time, give my brush a quick wipe. Nothing major, not in the water, just a quick wipe and straight in with that next colour. I'm going to add some dots into my leaves, and I'm going to finish my design off with some pretty little dots coming down. I do like dots, and I like to finish my designs off with dots. I just think it just makes it look complete. So once I'm happy that I've got what I need in place, I'm going to wait for this to dry. It doesn't take long, and I'm going to use the Crystal Nails Defender. It's a matte top coat. It's an air dry top coat. Although it's matte, it does give it like a sheen over it, so it does look like quite glossy in places. It is a really nice top coat. So once it's dry, I'm going to cover it all, wait for it to dry, and that's my finished design. So I hope you liked my one stroke design today, guys. Thanks very much for watching.